If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today with me, I have Liz from Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Do you want to take a second and kind of give everybody an introduction, maybe a little bit about your guys' podcast and what you do?
Well, we cover paranormal, some true crime, and just any weird stories.
I like them. I always get a kick out of them. I think I'm only one episode behind so far because getting this thing up and running, I've been putting a little bit more time into it, but I'm going to hit you guys up tomorrow when I'm at work. So I should be all caught up.
Yay.
And so, yeah, I wanted to bring you on because, like I said, we've had an absolute blast and you guys crack me up and we've talked and stuff like that. So I thought that you would appreciate what I want to bring just to kind of give separately shit that I'm dealing with around here so that you understand a little bit of why I might be more skeptical and that kind of thing when people start bringing in, paranormal activity and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to have your opinion on it too, because I know we've talked about things previously and I like to have that shock factor. You want to go ahead and just dive in?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. Pretty much since I was little, primarily, I have experienced some sort of activity or, weird vibes, stuff like that. Well, pretty much everywhere I've lived, actually, now that I think about it, except for when I was little, that, so little I couldn't remember. This house in particular, I have been in for almost 4 years. And as soon as I moved in, shit hit the fan. It started off little things, and then it kind of grew and grew and grew. A lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, your house is haunted," and I have to explain to them, I'm like, "Guys, I don't think it's the house. I'm pretty sure it's me."
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think it's the same thing following you to each house, or do you think that you're awakening what is in each house?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, there's been a couple instances here that kind of remind me or take me back to the house that I lived in, which I'll go over all that on another episode, but I previously lived in, and I had some experiences there, and things here kind of, I don't know how to explain it because it's not necessarily that I always physically see in front of me a person or thing. But I have noticed, ironically, I don't really know how all this works. I just know it happens. It's kind of weird. But when some of the things happen, I get this image in my head, almost like I could close my eyes and picture a person. Now, I don't physically see them with my own two eyes when I open them all the time.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I can feel their presence or some sort of vibration or something that they're giving off allows me to have this mental image, because what I see is not anything that I've ever seen before for the most part. But it's almost, I feel like it's almost like a way of communicating that's a little bit different than the typical communication.
And are they different things that you see?
So there's multiple in this house. Whereas, really everywhere. But even when I was, purchasing a house, anytime that I have to get an apartment or a house or whatever, I walk in and I'm like, I've got to see the whole house. Top, bottom, attic, basement, everything, crawl space, whatever you have in this house, I have to at least be within a foot of it. And there's been times where, I mean, I've walked in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this house. I love the layout. I love this, love that. And then we hit the basement and like I'm halfway down the stairs and instantly, I've got goosebumps, the hair standing up. I feel like I'm gonna puke. I'm like, something's in here. I'm like, nope. I'm like, we gotta go. I'm like, nope, can't live here.
To get this straight, you've been starting a cult and collecting people at every house you've been living at?
Okay, I don't think that all of them follow me. I almost wonder if it's kind of what you said. Some of them do follow me. I'll kind of explain a little bit because there is a personal connection to them. So I believe that they do follow me kind of wherever I go. But I really think that there are some that are either here or, close by that I almost wonder if they can tell or they know somehow that I can pick up on them and I can somehow hear, feel, see, whatever they're trying to portray. And maybe they come here or they've been here the whole time. It's hard telling. I haven't figured it out exactly. I can hear them. I'll get into that later, but there's instances where, I can clearly hear them.
Oh my
They clearly
God.
respond to me when I say something to them, they respond. Not verbally necessarily, but they do, cease and desist.
But they make sense to like what you're asking, so they're like intelligent.
They might do something. I'll be like, hey, stop. Like, please stop. I just, whatever. And it stops. But until I say stop, it's almost like they're poking the bear. And I don't know if it's maybe them trying to repeatedly try to, maybe they think I don't notice it. And so they just keep trying until I say, like, acknowledge them.
Mm-hmm.
Or stuff like that. But I mean, if I say something, generally it'll stop. So I'm like, they clearly could hear me and somehow.
I would be waking up every morning. Stop before anything starts.
Can hear, and I can hear them occasionally, but I don't know. Like I tell people, I do not claim to be anything. I do not claim to have, I call it a superpower or a curse. But I don't like that stamp or that label of, because people have been like, oh, so are you a medium? And I'm like, I don't really think I would call it that. I don't like candles and, okay, correction, I actually have candles lit everywhere right now, but not for the purpose of summoning anything. They're literally just because it smelled like dog in my house when I came home last night.
But some people are just more sensitive.
Yeah, it's like,
they just are.
I can, pick up on stuff, but I don't go out of my way to say, look for missing persons, or someone's got a question they want to ask a dead relative. I don't do that shit. I don't claim to do that shit. I don't know how to control anything that happens to me. I just know it happens. So I just want to make sure that I clear that up. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm, going around and claiming to be like a psychic or whatever the case may be. Honestly, weird shit happens to me. I think it's kind of cool. Apparently, it doesn't happen to everybody. To me, I'm used to it because it's been happening to me for years. But I just want to make sure that I go out on a limb and explain that is not at all what I'm getting at. I'm just wanting to share the activity and stuff that I have encountered personally, so that way y'all will know where I'm coming from when I do cover other cases, and I might be more skeptical as to how a person responds to an encounter is very different more times than not in my research as me encountering something and having a reaction to it. That being said, now that I got all that out of the way, sorry. But the first thing I noticed when I moved into my current house was every time I would go in the fuck-sucking bathroom. Only one bathroom. The other bathroom doesn't do it. It's fine. But the bathroom by my bedroom, I can have the light on and I can be sitting in my bed for hours and that light will stay on. No problem. I go in that mofo, get in the shower, and immediately, so we have two lights. We have, one above the sink, and then we have one, in the ceiling. And the one by the sink, which is by the mirror, starts flickering. And I'm like, okay, this is strange. And then when I leave the bathroom, it stops. It just stays on.
Is it only when the water is on?
Nope. Anytime I go in there.
What about when other people go in there?
Well, occasionally when my husband will go in there, he says sometimes it flickers, but not very often. My son, who I think maybe he is a little sensitive also, he just might not know it. He's got some stories that I want to put on here so bad at a later date because they're just crazy. And he's only 12, and which is, when I started remembering things that I had seen. But it does it when he's in there taking a shower. And it's just something that's really weird. And for whatever reason, when those, I made the joke when I first moved in, I called it the potty poltergeist because it was only in the bathroom. And when I'm in there, like I was saying earlier, sometimes I get that like a vibe or like a mental image of a person or something when things start to happen. And a lot of times when I'm in the bathroom and the lights start flickering and things, I get this image of, it's like an old lady with like curly gray and white hair and glasses, and she's pretty short. I mean, I'm short, but she's, kind of short like me. And she never seems, her facial expression's never angry. It's usually kind of, what's the word? I'm trying to think of a good word. Almost blank, but not quite. Almost like content, I guess.
Okay, so at least she's not angry.
Yeah, she's usually like every now and then you get like a little, I wouldn't really call it necessarily a smile, maybe a little smirk or a grin, just a hint. But most of the time it's just pretty blank. Like she's just kind of there and she's just hanging.
Can you see what period her clothes are from? Or is it not that clear?
I mean, really all I get is almost like a very small floral print. And it's kind of like a navy blue, almost a dark purpley type color, almost like a nightgown.
Oh, she's one of those cute old ladies that puts on brooches and gets her hair all done.
Right?
To go to the market.
It's all curly, and she looks very well kept. And it doesn't seem angry or anything like that. I don't get uncomfortable. It's just, the lights are flickering. I'm like, oh, hi. Okay, just please don't peek behind the curtain. Because other times, I'll be in the shower, and where I keep my towels is when you open the door, I have these two sets of hooks. They're hook them to the top of the door, and they have multiple hooks at the bottom, and that's where we hang our towels. So it's pretty freaking heavy. And you've really got to like put some effort into opening and closing the door all the way, especially to latch it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been multiple times where I'm in the shower and I generally don't lock the door. Everybody kind of knows if I'm in there, you can hear the shower. But I'll be washing my hair, whatever. I got my eyes closed, I got my head back, and I hear the door open and I hear the door close, like latch. And I just assume that it's my husband, coming in to use the bathroom or something. And I'm like, oh, hey, honey. Nothing. I'm like, babe, are you in here? Nothing. So then I get all the soap out of my eyes and I hurry up and pull the curtain back and there's nothing, but the light starts flickering. And I'm like, okay.
She's like, hey, honey.
Why would you do the door bullshit?
She's saying it back to you.
Yeah, like, hey. Clearly, maybe she's like, I'm outside the curtain. Don't worry, I'm not in there with you. Like, I'm outside the curtain. But maybe she is very polite, like a little old lady. But it's just something weird that I hear occasionally is like, I'll swear the door is, open and closed, or I'll hear the toilet flush, but there's nobody in there. And the toilet, how after you flush the toilet, you could, look or hear, whatever. None of that. I'm like, okay.
You keep using that bathroom?
Yeah, it's the one right by my bedroom. I gotta get up in the middle of the night and pee. And shower.
You have an audience.
I am more than happy to shower with Gertrude or whatever her name is. As opposed to the shower in my son's bathroom doesn't work. And keep in mind, that shower is primarily used by a 12-year-old boy.
Oh, yeah. Yuck.
So I will gladly
No
risk
offense.
Granny. Oh no, trust me. Like I will risk it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the first thing that started. Then a little later, one of my spooks made an appearance and decided that they were going to get a little fresh. And this one really kind of freaked me out. On more than one occasion, I've gone to bed, went to get comfortable. When I sleep, I do want to note, I always, every single night, because I need to calm my brain down, I have issues sleeping with insomnia and stuff. So I sleep with a headband that wraps all the way around my head that blocks any light. And then there's built-in speakers on both sides that I then play the sound of rain on repeat all night long. Because focusing on that, sound, somehow it calms my brain. I don't get it. And if it's on, I don't hear my husband snoring. I don't hear anything, to the point where if my son needs something and he's outside the room, he has to like scream at me because I can't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So get into bed, put my headband on, turn my music on. I'm under the blankie. I sleep with like gazillion pillows, body pillows. It's like Mount Pillow in there. Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm laying in bed. Now, keep in mind, this has happened to me a couple times, and it's a little rough. But the first time, I'm laying there, and it felt almost like my husband had walked in. You might need to know this, too, because it makes more sense. I sleep on my side/stomach. Typically, one leg straight. I got the other one hiked up over another pillow.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm laying there, and that feeling when someone just comes and they're like, almost like they're comforting you at first. They put your hand on your foot, like through the blanket. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. So it feels like that. I paused my music, left the headband on, and, just wanted to pause it so I could hear. And I was like, hey, babe, is everything okay? And I heard silence. Did you need something? Nothing. Okay, whatever. Like maybe he just didn't want to, I don't know. I don't know why the hell he'd want to stare at me while I'm sleeping, but whatever. Husbands are weird.
Yeah.
And so I turn my headphone back on, lay back down. I'm getting comfortable again. And all of a sudden, it's like the hand moves from the bottom of my foot to my ankle. And I sat there for a minute and waited. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then it was like the bottom of my calf. So I paused my headphones and I'm like, honey, are you okay? Nothing. I'm like, well, that's fucking weird. So I lay back down because I was like, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I'll be happy. He's touching me. I'm good. And I go lay back down. Then it's at the top of my calf, like in the bend of my knee, right?
Yeah.
Babe, like, are you good? Like, what do you need? Nothing. And I'm like, seriously? Do you not need anything? Silence. So I'm like, fuck it, whatever. And I lay back down. Then it goes almost like between the bottom and the middle of my hamstring. Keep in mind, I also sleep in nothing but like a pair of breeches and a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling mid-thigh. There is a hand, right? So then I'm like, hey, baby, like maybe he's like starting something, I'm going to get a little action. So I like throw my headphones off and I was like, hey, honey, you want to, and I turn around and there's no one there. I still feel the hand on my leg and nothing is there.
Ew, the ghost was hitting on you.
Oh, yeah. So I was absolutely horrified. Then I realized, like, I look around the room, no husband, no kids, no pets, just me and an invisible horn dog. So
imagine
I
if it was an
immediately
incubus.
thought about that. But here's the thing. So I stopped and I'm like, listen, I don't appreciate you touching me. You need to leave me alone. I need to get some sleep because I have to work in the morning. So you need to back the fuck up and leave me alone. And as soon as I said that, I could feel it like let go. And it was silent the rest of the night.
He was pouting in the corner.
But while there's like if it touches, it's always my leg and my feet. It always likes to play with my feet. It's weird. And I have like this weird mental image, and it always seems to be kind of, he's a man, I'd say late 20s to early, maybe mid 30s, sandy blonde hair, seems pretty well kept. He's always wearing dark clothes. He doesn't put off aggressive. It's not like I feel like he's violating me necessarily. Like, I thought it was my husband, right?
He wanted some.
Yeah. And you got to think. So when this thing's touching me, I wasn't feeling horribly violated. I was literally like, oh, like it was almost like a caring, interested, like I thought it was my husband until I realized he was see-through. Then it got a little weird.
That wasn't weird?
Well, it was weird I'm saying it was weird whenever I realized he was not there.
Oh, okay.
That's when it got weird.
I thought you meant it escalated and it got weird. I'm like, none of that was weird to you? Okay.
A couple other times, same situation. I get in bed, I got my headphones on, getting ready, everything's good to go. I'm rocking. And out of nowhere, you ever have a little kid, right? Like maybe toddler age, right? And you guys are playing and they're trying to be funny and they walk up to you and they take your foot and they go, tickle, 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 and they pretend tickle your foot.
Yep.
Okay, that feeling on my foot. And it was almost like what do they call it? Cat making biscuits, right?
Yes.
So I have 2 cats. So I'm assuming it's, the cat or something, but for whatever reason, I'm like, again, kept picturing this child just doing tickle, tickle, tickle. And I just assumed it was the cat. So I was moving my foot, like I'm, scooting it around and I'm like, God, go away, thinking it's my cat. And so then I pause and I lay back down. I'm like, okay. And it pauses for a second and then it starts. And I'm like, you stupid cat. So, I start like flailing. I look like a damn fish in this bed, flapping my leg around. And I'm like, oh my God, just leave me alone. So I lay back down and I'm like, cool, because it's like quiet for a second. And it starts again. And I'm like, for the love of God. And I fling my headphones off. I was like, will you just go? And then I stop. And I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing here. Like nothing.
I feel so bad
no
for
dog.
that one.
I thought it was the cat.
A little kid ghost.
Well, there's a few of them. They like to fall. Those are my ones that stay close.
You have multiple little kids?
Yeah.
Have you looked into who they are at all? Like done any research?
They are.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all my kids.
Oh, yeah, you said that. But you think that this one was as well?
So that's the thing. I'm not sure. Part of me is like, well, was it the kid or was it a cat? Like, what was it? But like I said, there was no trace. And when I say I would have known this cat was on me, this cat weighs 17 pounds. So when I'm flinging my foot, I would have felt him evacuate the premises. Mm-hmm. You could hear him hit the floor because he's fat.
Yeah.
But none of that. It was just silent. And I literally lay back down. I was like, sweetheart, you need to stop. I was like, I need to go to bed. And then it just stopped the rest of the night. I was like, okay. So we're good. But that's happened to me a few times. And the kids are tricksters. They're little stinkers. They like to pull pranks. But anyway, so this next one is a little bit, again, with the trickster thing, this one's a shithead. It was just fucking with me, right? I was asleep, out cold. About 3:00 in the morning, I suddenly wake up because I hear a kid's voice on the other side of my closed bedroom door going, Mommy. So I paused my music and I, hollered because sometimes my kid will yell at me. So granted, now he doesn't call me Mommy, he calls me Mom because, he's too old for that. But
way too cool.
Yeah, I paused it. I'm like, yeah, booger, because that's what I call him. And nothing. That was weird. And I was like, well, maybe it's just in my head. And I lay back down. A few minutes later, again, I hear, Mommy, on the other side of the door. So I pause it again, go through the same steps, nothing, lay back down. And I'm like, what the hell's happening? Then, a few minutes after that, I hear a like panic, distressed child's voice. Mommy, like something is wrong. Right? I mean, where I popped up, headphones off, I was getting out of bed, and I was like, buddy, are you okay? And I opened the door, and there's fucking nothing. Nothing.
Where was your son?
So that's the thing. So his room is on the opposite side of the house as me. So my house is not very big either, but still opposite side of the house. So I come out and I had that feeling I just needed to check on him, right? That mom gut. And so I walk out and I'm walking through the kitchen and dining room area towards my son's room to make sure, he's good. And as I round the corner to go to his room, behind me, I hear giggling, like a little like hee hee, like, a little kid when they think they pulled a fast one on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just hear a little giggle, and I mean, instantly it was goosebumps, hair stood up, and I felt that nauseous feeling, and I'm like, fuck, it's behind me. And I turn around real slow. There's nothing there. And I just continued to my son's room. I opened the door. He is out cold, sawing logs, never budged in his room.
And you didn't get any like malevolent feelings near these children?
Nope.
They were just bored.
I really think they are, because they've been doing this shit to me since I lost them. So this has been an ongoing thing for years.
Have you tried toys or like crayons and paper?
Nope.
You just don't want to see that?
So I don't encourage it.
Okay.
Partially because it does freak my son out a lot. Like, he doesn't do anything spooky or anything like that. So I try to not.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave everyone else alone. They really only pull pranks on me. And it's nothing. It's never anything bad. I mean, I'll have, something falls off the table and you hear a little giggle, or you'll just hear little feet like running through the house. If you didn't know any better and you were sitting in my room, you would swear that I had multiple children under the age of, say, 10 in my house, just playing.
That's so sweet, though, to know that they never like left you and they're with you.
They're always here.
I love that.
And when I cover things in another episode, I'm gonna bring up an instance where like I actually got to meet them. Well, all but one. I lost one after I had my son, and I didn't get to see that one, but the other ones, I was able to meet them. It was very strange, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I still sometimes think about it, and I'm like, is it in my head? What's going on? But there is, I actually will bring that up a little bit later, because one of them is going to come into play.
Okay.
But anyways, scared the crap out of me. So I walk back in my room. My husband's like kind of staring around. I'm like, did you hear that? He's like, hear what? I'm like, you didn't hear that kid yelling? He's like, what kid? Whatever they're doing, I'm the only one that can hear or see it, apparently. Which I don't know if that's intentional or just the fact that they're not very sensitive.
Yeah, I was just trying to think that. I know you said your son is sensitive.
Yeah, like, so he's in here a little bit later as well, for a couple things that he's noticed. And I almost wonder if the kids are what he's dealing with, that I get into in a little bit. Keep that in mind when we get there.
All right.
Okay. Whoop, boop, boop. Okay. Again, I checked on the kid. He was fine. I go through the same routine. I'm like, all right, guys, you've got to stop. I've got to get some sleep. I've got to get up. Please just let me sleep. And the rest of the night, I have no problems. So at least they listen.
Oh, ghost children.
I know, right? And they're usually not too bad. They're pretty sweet. This one, I think you know about, because we did mention it in a previous episode that we recorded together. But I do want to bring it up because it is going to be wrapped in. While I was recording an episode for the True Crime pod, my co-host looked over at me, and it was it threw me off. It kind of concerned me because I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I just looked up and she was a mix between confused and like horrified. And she was looking behind me, which did not make me necessarily feel great.
Yes. Now I remember it.
Yeah.
I think I blocked that out of my mind.
Yeah. So, but when she said that, I was like, what the hell are you looking at? Because it kind of creeped me out. And I turned around and didn't see anything. And she was explaining to me that I swear I saw your boy standing right behind you. And he wasn't even in the same county while we were recording. I then explained to her, I'm like, cool. I'm like, you just saw David, who was my first baby that I lost. And those two would have been full biological brothers. And as I had said earlier, when I met them in a dream, this older boy, which was the first one I lost, looked almost identical to my son. Scary, to the point where now that my son is getting older, I look at him and it just catches me off guard sometimes because I'm like, I've seen you. Like I knew him the moment they did the ultrasound picture and he was still in my stomach. I saw his face and I recognized him because I saw him.
That is nuts.
And that dream where I saw this kid that looks just like my son was 2 years before my son was born. So
that's crazy. And then
yeah,
Kristen saw him
right behind me.
and knew what he looked like. Did you never told her about this, or you
So
did?
the thing is, she didn't know. She thought she was looking at my son. She didn't know about the boy in my dream looking just like my kid.
That must confirm for you a little bit. Like, I wasn't just imagining it.
Yeah, like she looked up and she was like, I swear I just saw your kid. And she's like, I know he's not here. And
that's so sweet. They love to be near their mom.
And he wasn't doing anything. He was just standing right behind me.
He was like, I'm gonna be part of one of these stories.
Yeah. Like, hey, what are you doing? Oh my God, did you just say that? Do you know what we did the next day?
What?
We recorded with you, and do you remember what happened when we were recording with you?
What?
Did you watch the video? Did you go back and watch the video when we recorded?
No.
Your piece for your pod, the lights started randomly, they were turning off and on.
Gosh, I do remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was only like the next day.
So he was like, you have to mention me. Maybe it will calm down after this because he's on it.
Oh, no, they've been doing this for going on 15 years, so.
He wants his fame.
Yep. Speaking of my son, he's mentioned some occurrences, some of which I might just touch base on real quick. I want to cover them in another episode in the future because there's going to be a whole topic on it. But, so do you know what an Oculus is?
I do.
Okay, so for anybody out there who does not know, it's a virtual reality game in which you wear the headset. You can't see anything except what is happening in your game on your face. And you have 2 controllers that you hold in your hands, and they act as all kinds of stuff from guns to sabers to hands, whatever. And so you can't hear or see much of anything around you while you're playing. Okay, that disclaimer aside. He was playing his Oculus, and he felt something or someone just 2-finger tap him on the shoulder. Like it's trying to get his attention, like, hey, right? So then I'm out here in the living room watching TV, and I hear my son go, in a second. I'm like, what is he talking about? I wanted to make sure he was okay, so I walk in, and I open the door, and he heard me open the door, and I'm like, buddy, are you okay? And he turned around so fucking fast and he whipped that headset off and he just looked at me and he was like mortified. He was like, how long have you been there? I'm like, I just opened the door. He's like, you didn't just tap me on the shoulder? I'm like, no. He goes, Mom, your spook just touched me. And so I did what I normally do. I'm like, all right, guys, leave your brother alone. He's trying to play a game. Just please stop. Just leave him alone. He doesn't like it. You can go play somewhere else. And everything stopped and he was fine. And actually,
oh my gosh.
To this day, he's not had it again. They've just left him alone.
I don't even know what to say.
I
Yeah.
know, it's so crazy because he even did it to me. He goes, "No, I felt this," and he showed me, and it did feel. And I'm like, "Well, where at?" And he's like, "My shoulder." I'm like, "Well, where at? Like on the top of your shoulder?" He was like, "No, it's like kind of like in the middle or like the bottom." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, kids," because they would have been all. Every time I've seen them or encountered them in any way, they've always appeared to be smaller, not tiny, but I'd say maybe between the ages of 7 and 9.
I wonder how that works. Like they just hit a certain age and then just
Right?
stop?
Exactly. And I lost them all before I ever even gave birth. So that doesn't make sense to me. But I almost wonder if whatever, not just in my instance, but just across the board, I almost wonder if whatever puts itself out there, puts it out there in a way that they want you to see them. Maybe if it was a baby, I wouldn't have recognized him. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when they showed up and I saw them, I knew exactly who they were. The girl looked like me. The younger boy looked a lot like the dad for my twins, and then the older boy looked just like my son, who shared the same dad. So I almost wonder if they can tell what you need to identify them, and that's how they show up.
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure, but it's just a thought that I've had
Yeah.
because they've never aged either, and it's been 15 years. My son also described to me something that he saw that scared the shit out of him. I'm not going to get into all the details, but so he described something to me. I immediately identified what it was, did not tell him what it was. He doesn't know what any of this stuff is anyway. I drew a picture and showed it to him, and he said, "Yep, that's it." And you know what it was?
What?
The Hat Man.
No, I've never seen him and I don't want to.
So my son has apparently more than once.
That's
And
why I don't even touch Benadryl, because I'm so afraid I'll have an allergic reaction. I'm like, nope,
no,
don't want it.
no, honey. He was in the woods hunting. He was not on any medication. He was not sleeping. Yeah. So it's very strange, but I'm going to look into that more whenever I do my Hat Man episode.
Don't do that one.
But it's okay. So this next one I have is, it's going to hit home for you a little bit, I think. Again, I'm on the couch, I'm editing the podcast, and you know how it works. If you've seen the screen where as you're editing or listening, you can see the voice modulation as it progresses.
Yep.
And all of that. So I'm listening, everything looks fine. I'm watching the modulation go through. Nothing changes in the screen. There's clearly voice in this conversation that we're having. But my headphones played static for like a split second, then went silent for a second, and then I heard a woman that I don't recognize her voice go, "Hello." And I responded out of reflex. I'm like, "Hello?" And I was like, for whatever reason, I looked around like an idiot because I really thought there was somebody in my house or something. I was like, "Hello?" And then it was silent, static for a second, and then kept playing back to whatever I was doing.
Oh no, I would have smashed my computer.
So I was like, I sat there. Okay, that was weird. And so I went back, rewound it, started playing it through again. Exact same thing. When it came to the spot where it stopped, it did not stop. It just kept playing like nothing ever happened. And as soon as I say that, I now have goosebumps.
I wonder if it was Gertrude. But at least it wasn't like
It
a
sounded
demonic,
like a young.
hello.
Yeah, it sounded like a young woman. It was just hello. It was really weird. And I would like to point out the TV was not on. Nobody was in this house. The radio was not on. The only thing on was my laptop and my headphones.
I hate doing playback things because that's when you hear really weird things or see really weird
and that's
things.
what's weird is like I said, it happened while I was listening. I went back, replayed it. It was gone. Whatever it was, I mean, it just wanted to say hi. And then it left, I guess. So I was like, well, hello. Fancy meeting you here. I don't know who the hell you are, but okay.
That is
Apparently,
so
maybe she likes my
bizarre.
pod. But not only that, some of the stuff which I can't quite pin my finger on who or what it is can actually move shit in my house.
Oh,
That's when
no.
it gets crazy.
That's
By my bedroom,
poltergeisty stuff.
yeah. And the thing is, it's nothing ever scary. Sorry, I just like totally stuttered. It's not scary. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. And what's weird is it doesn't do it. Typically, it doesn't do it when you're looking, right? Okay, so I'll give you a couple examples here. By my bedroom door, I have 3 wooden like cutout boxes that are nailed to the wall, like little shelves in the form of a square. And they all have a bunch of shit in them. And the littlest one, which is the one on the bottom, has a carved wooden owl in it.
Okay.
Owl's facing directly forward, he's at attention and he has never moved. Well, I was walking out of my room, came around the corner, and all of a sudden I just, I had this feeling, it was like, turn around. And I was like, fuck. So I turn around, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait. My owl was no longer facing forward. It was in the exact same spot, but had rotated all the way to where it was looking in my bedroom, like 45 degrees. Or I guess would that be 90? 90 degrees into my, sorry, I wasn't good at math. But it was facing my bedroom. Me being me and trying to not think it was anything in particular, I went and got the boys. And I'm like, who fucked with my owl? They're like, what are you talking about? They're like, what? They didn't even know we had an owl in the house. And I was like, who touched my stuff? Because they know you don't touch mama's stuff. I'm like, who touched it? And they're like, we didn't touch anything. They swear up and down. They're like, we don't even, like, why would we touch it? That doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, I'm opening doors. I'm closing doors. I'm making sure, like, does anything touch it? Does anything move? Like, does it shake the cabinet? Nothing else on any of the other boxes were moved. Nothing touched it. And the thing was just turned.
And it's nothing an animal could have hopped up and done it because they probably would have knocked it over.
It's way too far off the ground. They can't even reach it.
Oh, that's so weird. Why would they turn it just to face your bedroom, though?
Exactly. And oddly enough, my cat, I think my cat sees weird shit. She's the black one.
Trust animals. Anything an animal looks at, talks to, something's there.
She'll sit by that wall and just look up like she's scanning the wall, like she's following something, and make these like really weird fucking noises.
Oh my gosh.
And then eventually she just is like, oh, it's done. And then she just walks off. I'm like, the fuck? I have a whole part in here about the cats. I probably need to speed up a little bit. I'm sorry I'm taking a little while.
No.
But I love how much I put this part in here twice. All right. I'm going to read this. Okay. And I'm going to read you exactly what I typed as I was making these notes. And I made these notes, just so you're aware, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. And here's what it says. As I type this, I heard knocking on the wall. The dogs heard it too and are now running to the doors, barking like crazy. And I want to note that I am home alone. I've checked the video cameras and there is no one outside that could have knocked.
Knocking from outside or wall to wall?
It sounded like someone. So this is what's interesting. It sounded like somebody knocking on like a door, and I can see out my door right now. It's got glass in it. I can see this door. I checked the camera on the other door, and there's nothing. I even rewound the cameras, played it forward. No one goes anywhere near my doors. And you can hear the dogs barking on the camera. So I know I got the right time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Totally fucking crazy. Like, as I was typing it, it was like, I've also heard knocking while I was getting ready in my vanity in my bedroom. I heard a knocking on the wall. And it was just like 3 knocks, just like somebody would just be knocking on the door.
That's what I was so afraid. I was just thinking, should I ask her or don't ask her? Because if it's 3 knocks, it's usually demonic. And I was like, I don't even want to ask that question because I don't want to know the answer.
I did not know that. But it's funny that you mentioned that, and we'll get to it. So anyway, I'm getting ready. I'm getting dressed. It's like 5 in the morning. Well, yeah, 5 in the morning. And
it's like the middle of the night when you were hearing it.
Yes. Well, what's weird is hear the knocking, and I'm like, well, that's strange. And then all of a sudden the thought occurs to me, the wall that was knocking, when I say it knocked like 1.5 feet from my face. It sounded like it was like my height, just 1.5 feet away from me on the wall. But on the other side of that wall, it's an exterior wall. My house is brick, and there's no window, there's no door, there's no nothing that you could even stand on to knock on my brick and make it sound like you're knocking inside my wall.
So it's not Jeff.
Nope. We're going to get, I got Kevin. I've got to do Jeff. But yeah, I mean, it was weird. It's just like knock, and then that was it. Like, just to get my attention.
Yucky. Lee has all those stories about the knocking on the wall. I hate that. And if it's 3 knocks, I'm like, no. Sage.
Well, and that's the thing is, like I said, it just knocked. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I just went about my business. But
I can't believe you act so nonchalant as all these things happen to you.
I have been dealing with this stuff for like 20 years. At this point, I'm kind of used to it. Even if I go, like I'm going here in a couple weeks, I'm going to do a ghost hunt in Illinois. Those kind of, the ones that I'm not expecting, those ones kind of get me. But stuff around the house and stuff, I'm so used to it that, and like I said, I generally can feel if it's bad. I can feel it. So most of the stuff happening isn't anything meant to hurt me.
And how did you feel after the knocks?
Fine. I mean, it was literally knocking. I was like, huh. And I literally go, hello. And then I just kept getting dressed. I was like half naked and the thing knocked and I was like, hello. Maybe it was the creeper. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I tell my husband all of this crap, right? I mean, I tell him all the stuff. And this man will not believe me, right? Will not believe me. He just says it's all a bunch of hocus pocus. One night, after some shenanigans, and again, remember when I told you these things, listen to me. I literally was in my kitchen and I stopped and I said it out loud and I said, listen, I know you are here. He does not believe me. Bug him for a little bit so that he believes that you're real and I'm not crazy. Okay? So I literally asked them to pester my husband. And the next day, I go to work, same old, same concept. Totally routine, nothing out of the ordinary. I get to work and I get a phone call. And he goes, what the hell? I'm like, what did I do? Like, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, you just spilled coffee all over the counter and you just left it? I'm like, babe, what are you talking about? So we had a Keurig machine on the counter in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, it looks like you brewed a whole cup of coffee with no cup, and it is all over the Keurig, it's all over the counter, all over the floor. And I explained to him, I was like, honey, I have not used the Keurig in almost a month. For starters. 2, if you're telling me there is coffee on the fucking counter, to get coffee out of the Keurig, you would have to, 1, turn the Keurig on, open it, put the cup in, close it, and select the fucking option for it to brew. Those are a lot of steps.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him saying, he's like, well, maybe it was leaking. I'm like, you said it looked like a cup of coffee. If it was leaking, it would be water on the counter. He still was like, you know what? That's, whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's a short or I don't know what bullshit. But I was like, the short doesn't explain the opening, closing, and hitting the button. But whatever floats your boat, babe.
Oh, the kids loved it because you were like, go crazy. So they were like, what are we going to do?
Guys. Fuck with your stepdad. It'll be a good time. So the day after this, I'm at work and I get another phone call and he sounds thoroughly confused. And I'm like, hey, babe, what's going on? And he just replies with, babe, the treadmill just turned itself on. And I was a little confused and I was like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? And he goes, the treadmill turned itself on. And he explained to me that he went out to the porch and he was going out the porch door. So we have an enclosed porch. So he walked out the front door to the porch door. And when he went out to check the mail, he heard something making noise and he turned around and the treadmill that I kept on the porch was running.
Was it plugged in?
Yes. So it was plugged in. So I told him, because he's like, how do you turn this thing off? And I'm like, okay, there's a bar, because it was an old treadmill. And I said, there's a bar with a little notch on it. Slide it. I said, sliding to the right, speeds it up, slide it all the way to the left, and it'll turn off. And he goes, it is all the way to the left. And I could hear it on the phone. And I'm like, okay, let's think about this. I'm like, pull the safety switch. You know, the ones you clip to your clothes, so if you fall off,
yep,
you go. All right. So I'm like, pull the safety switch. It should automatically kill it. And I hear him tug on it. He goes, that didn't work either. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, babe, unplug it. And he was like, okay. And then I hear him go, whew, if that didn't work, we were going to fucking move. And I said, I told them to fuck with you. I was like, best part, we have a Ring doorbell. I got all of this shit on tape.
Did you see when it turned on?
Yeah, I literally, so you could barely see the treadmill in the corner, and you see him walk out, you see him turn the porch door and open it. He doesn't even take one step before he turns it, like really confused, it turns his head, stares at it for a second, and immediately calls me. I was so pissed. I know I downloaded this motherfucking video because I sent it to people because I was like, you're not going to fucking believe this. And I sent it to people. The video is no longer in my OneDrive. It's not on my phone. It's not on my laptop. It's not in any of my message history. And we cannot go back far enough to retrieve it on the Ring doorbell. It wiped itself out.
See, I'm picturing the little kids from Nightmare Before Christmas just sitting around.
Shock, lock, and barrel.
Yeah, I'm picturing them like tee in the corner as he's sitting there trying to figure out the treadmill.
That's exactly it. And you could hear me on the phone. He had me on speaker. So you could hear our whole conversation. But yeah, and he still was like, well, maybe it was an electrical short. I was like, to turn it on? I was like, I've used that treadmill repeatedly, and I have never had a problem. Needless to say, we got rid of the treadmill and we got a new one. And this one is not, so far, knock on wood, turned on. But he still does not believe me. So this one I think we might have talked about in a previous pod. These people probably haven't heard it, but I only have a couple things left, so I will try to wrap this up. I know it's going kind of long, but it's, like I said, a bunch of stuff happens to me, and this is just the stuff in this house. And it's not even all of it. It's just some of the things. A few weeks ago, I covered a certain topic we're not going to discuss because I know that you don't want to discuss it. And I will not be discussing it on this pod. So a little bit after I started researching said, topic, it was 3:00 in the morning, and I wake up and I am panicked. I'm talking, I am sweating. My heart's racing. And then it occurs to me that I am screaming bloody murder. And I don't even, it's like something's screaming, and it doesn't register to me immediately that it's me. I apparently was screaming in my sleep so loud that I woke myself up, woke my husband up, and I was a mess, right? And I was like, okay, that was really fucking weird. I was like, I don't remember dreaming about anything in particular, but okay. So I go to the bathroom, and I lay back down, and I was like, okay, that's fucked up. I need to take a minute. I roll over. I'm like, I'm just going to, look at some social media, try to calm down a little, and just try to simmer down. Yeah. I look at my phone, no service, Wi-Fi or otherwise, completely. It just says SOS.
Oh, no.
So my husband just gets back from going to the bathroom, and I asked him, I said, hey, babe, do you have any service on your phone? And he picks up his phone. He was like, yeah, I got full bars. Why? Our phones are 5-6 feet apart. That's it. And mine's deader than a doorknob. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Okay, whatever. I'll just lay here and just relax. So I'm relaxing. And again, I sleep on my side. Big-chested women cannot sleep on their belly. They cannot sleep on their back unless they want to choke to death. So those are out of the option. That I have back problems. So I can't really sleep on my back because then I can't move for the whole day. So I'm laying there when all of a sudden it's like I'm awake, but I'm not sure if I'm awake. I know that sounds really weird. My eyes are open. I'm seeing everything, but I can see pretty well, which if I wasn't at, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, everything should be dark, right?
Yes.
But everything appears to be lit enough that I can see everything. I'm like, this is weird. Am I awake? And I'm like thinking to myself, am I awake or am I sleeping? What's going on? And I don't even try to move. I don't feel paralyzed. I don't feel in danger. I don't feel anything except why the fuck am I awake and why is it light in here? So my brain's clearly trying to work this out. When all of a sudden I see this long black arm and it's got this hand, and the only thing I could think to explain it is, okay, Jim Carrey the Grinch, only it's not fuzzy and it's not green. It is black. I mean, if there was a black that's blacker than black, this is it. And it's so bizarre because the hand just reaches out real slow, and I'm looking at it, and you would think that I would be concerned or scared or something, but I wasn't. It's like I recognized it. So whatever it was familiar to me enough that I didn't even panic whenever it starts coming towards me.
So you are in a light room and this black arm comes at you and you're just fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just watching it and it reaches out and it's got, kind of like all the fingers sprawled out, kind of like when you see like an evil witch in like a Disney movie and they move their hands and stick their fingers out real long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, like that. And it comes down and it takes its pointer finger and it just very lightly scrapes like my bicep, like just the middle of my bicep.
Ew.
And it does it 3 times.
Stop with the 3.
I know. Yep. And what's weird is like I'm watching it and I can feel it. It feels as if you were taking, say, a kitchen knife and running a kitchen knife along somebody, like along my arm, like just real light. Almost like this thing, from feeling it, it could have messed me up very easily. It could have done serious damage, but it didn't. And it was almost like it was trying to wake me up, get my attention or something, because it was just kind of like, hey. And I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like I was, in any type of danger. It was just very odd. And it did look something to me like something that I had seen like 15, 20 years ago. But I never saw it again until...
A lot of people that look at the picture of that thing that you researched have similar encounters, but theirs were all terrifying. And there were like people, black shadow men or parts of their body, and they were petrified.
Yeah. So you have, the shadow men and stuff like that people encounter. And this is going to sound probably really weird. I don't think it was a shadow man. I've seen a shadow man. I saw one. I'm going to cover it in another episode whenever I go over my trip to the penitentiary. I saw one. But I saw something when I was a teenager, and I don't know what it was. I almost felt, it sounds really stupid. I would have said demon, but I never felt threatened. I feel like if it was a demon, I would have felt scared or in danger of some kind. But I was more confused. And when it looked at me, it almost felt like it was, I can't figure out another way to put it except like siphoning my energy. I was getting tired. I felt like it was draining me while it was looking at me. Almost like it was getting into like my soul, right? But I never felt scared. I just looked at it, was like, this is really weird. And that same thing that I saw, it disappeared that night and I never saw it again. But the arm in particular, I remember seeing on the thing that I saw years before. So I almost wonder if whatever it was is familiar to me and it didn't hurt me then. So I wonder if maybe that's why I felt familiar. I felt comfortable. I knew it wasn't going to hurt me.
It just caressed your arm and was like, thanks. Yep. Thanks for the energy.
Yeah, it was like 3 little scrapes and I woke up. And when I woke up, it was only 10 minutes before my alarm went off. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm up. But later that day, My phone never started working again. My car wouldn't start. My computer at work quit working. It froze
It
up.
drained everything it wanted. That's why it was like, thanks, I'm going to take all your electronic.
Yeah, anything I went near that was electrical that day malfunctioned. Until I came home, I saged the shit out of everything, and then all my stuff started working.
Oh, they were definitely draining you again.
Yep.
He was like, remember me?
He's like, hey, baby. Apparently, he only needs to eat every 20 years.
That's
15 years. He's like the cicadas that come up every 15 years.
Yeah. You'll see him in the future.
Maybe. We'll find out, I guess. The last one I do have.
Oh, I hope he doesn't come back with his toenails.
Ew. Yeah, his feet did kind of look similar.
Sorry, go ahead.
Be like, bro, get a pedi. Do you want me to schedule you one? Paranormal pedicure?
Yes.
We can start business. Oh, my nose is bleeding. Okay.
Side hustle. Oh, gosh. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. It just does that. Okay, I didn't mean to talk about you. I'm really sorry.
All these strange things happen to you, and you're just like, yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's just a shadow arm. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay. Which is weird because my nosebleed started happening whenever that happened.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, it's not going to slow me down. I got one little piece left. The last part I have is about my kitties.
Oh.
So the big cat is notorious for this, and he will sit in the doorway. So I'll be in bed. He'll sit in the doorway of my bathroom. Lights are off. Sometimes they're on, but usually they're off. And he won't cross the threshold. He just sits and perks himself up, and he'll start growling and hissing, and he's just like staring into the empty bathroom. And he just starts like throwing a fucking fit, like he's standing his fucking ground. And then eventually he comes up, and he's not a social cat at all, like ever. But when he's done, he usually like hops up, checks on me or whatever, and then he just goes about his business.
You think he sees Gertrude in there or something else?
He's got to see something because I've even turned the light on, and he still like is adamant. He's growling. He's not budging. And I've walked in there, and he's just staring into space, growling. And I open the shower curtain. And what's weird is one time when I did that, I'm like, okay, can you please leave? And then immediately the cat stopped and left. I was like, okay.
Oh, what a good familiar. He's checking everything out for you.
Usually he doesn't give a fuck. He's a Garfield. But my cat, the black cat, likes to randomly sit in front of walls and look at the wall, and she'll scan. Like she's almost like when you take the little feather toy, and play with them and they go back and forth. She does that, and it's just a wall. There's nothing there.
I don't like the back and forth. So something's like crawling or floating back and forth.
And I'll even go over there and I look on the wall. I'm like, is there a bug? And there's nothing. No fuzzy, no bug, no nothing. I was like, I don't know what the fuck she's looking at. And she'll sit in the middle of the kitchen and do it. And she'll start making these weird noises. Looks like she's staring at nothing. It's really weird. But yeah, so I think even my kitties know. Those are all the spooky things that happen in my house. And as soon as I said that, now my nose quit bleeding. Okay, thanks. Whatever you are, whatever. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is crazy. And I can't believe you're just like fine with all of it. You're just like, yeah, it is what it is. It's just another Tuesday.
Do? And you know what's weird? I have saged my house on multiple occasions. And although whenever I sage it, I do make a point that I say to whatever is in here, I'm like, if you're malicious, if you have negative intent, you've got to get the fuck out. But if you're neutral or, we don't have any problem, you're not up to anything, like you're more than welcome to stay because I don't kick them out. If they're not doing anything to hurt me.
That's what I'm always afraid to sage anything because I don't know if you're going to open something up.
I really need to probably research it. Usually it helps me personally. That's really weird. Okay. But, yeah, so I don't know. I think I need to do a little more research on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe there's a crystal method that might be a little more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a book here that I need to probably start freaking reading. It's Protection and Reversal Spells.
Ooh. I'm always afraid to do anything until I know 100% how it works.
Yeah, it's by Alyssa Vera. It says the Witch's Self-Defense Guide Against Curses, Hexes, Negative Energies, harmful spirits, and psychic attacks. Create your own shield with the most powerful magic. So I haven't read it yet. I don't know how much I put into it. I guess I probably have to like read it before I make a decision onto whether or not I buy into it.
Yeah.
But I do want to also disclaimer out there for everybody. I want to make everybody aware, even if you are sensitive and something does come to you, don't always take it at face value. I was very hesitant, like with the kids when I first started seeing them because, well, one, I thought I was going fucking crazy. And two, if it's a negative spirit or something of demonic nature, it very well could parade around in a voice or a vision or something and pretend to be someone that you might desperately want to come into contact with. For instance, my grandfather, who is not generally very spiritual or negative, my uncle committed suicide a couple months ago. And about a month ago, I'd say, my grandpa swears that he was being visited by my uncle, and my uncle was saying, like, you should have done this and you should have done that as far as, you know, burial and ceremony and all of that. And I wouldn't have wanted this and I wouldn't have wanted that because my grandfather wasn't really a part of those decisions. It was primarily his wife, and, you know, clergy and whoever, I don't know what you would call them, those people. And
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to, you know, my mom and I were talking, and I'm like, I don't feel. So you don't have to be sensitive to be visited by demons, in my opinion. I believe that truly genuine spirits and full and all of those, I feel that you probably do need to be sensitive to have contact with them and be receptive to them. But I feel like a demon has a lot more roaming ability, powers, I guess you could say, to present themselves in a way where they might look like a spirit or something that you're familiar with, to trick you or to make you feel bad. Because I think that some of them feed off of that.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of the children ghosts scare me usually, unless you know who they are, because they're cunning and they'll be like, okay, they'll let me get her to let her guard down by being a helpless child.
Like, let's
And you'll
play
be
with
like,
this ball.
oh,
And then
yeah.
you're like, okay, and you're chasing the ball. Next thing you know, the son of a bitch throws you down the stairs, and now you're one of them.
Yeah, and the Hat Man's like, yo, that was me.
Yeah. What's up, bitches? You know, you die, you come back, and you're like, well, that's not what you looked like a second ago. And it's like, surprise, bitch. Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that I tell people, be wary of that. Also, I'm not going to poo-poo everybody because, like I said, I'll get into this in another episode. There are some things that I have noticed that I can do. I don't control them. I have no idea how they work. I don't know anything about it. But those that try to sell you readings and dream interpretations and basically psychics, mediums, whatever hat they want to put on, be very skeptical. I know that generally they do a lot of hard reads where they're so vague that it could very easily fit into you, and it makes their job easy because, well, it could be anybody. So just be very wary of that. Don't take it all as gospel unless you can do some vetting and you feel that they are truly gifted. So, got anything?
No, I loved it. I loved your whole story. That was
Awesome.
crazy. I didn't know what to say at most of the episode. I sat quiet because I'm like, seriously? What? What? She has a bathroom friend? She has children roaming around the house?
Yeah. It's like a full house over here. I'm really surprised because literally my nose has not bled at all since I did say that. So, cool
That's
beans.
crazy. Well,
But-
thank you so much for having me on. I loved it.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you for coming on, and I look forward to listening more of your guys' stuff. And maybe in the future we can reach out. Might have you on again. I've got all kinds of stuff in the work that I'd like to get on there. I'm just getting everything scheduled and that kind of thing.
Oh my goodness. By the way, I listened to your redhead episode on your other podcast today. That was hilarious. The menstruation part, everything about that had me cracking up. Such a great episode.
And that wraps up our episode for today. Please rate and review the show wherever you listen to help me out and make the podcast easier for others to find. And don't forget to follow on Facebook and Instagram and check out the website at www.cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy.com. There you can find episodes, links to the social media, leave a review, find the link to the merch store, and donate to support the continuation of this pod. You can also find the link to the Patreon page. I hope to see you next time.